dictator trying to take over America. He's evil and we're virtuous. If you frame it that way, you kind of justify any level of extremism, right? If you really thought Hitler was going to take over the country, what wouldn't you do to stop it? What wouldn't you justify in your own mind to prevent that from happening? Nothing.
But see, Hillary's the one stealing. She's the Hitler.
Look, I'm just saying.
No. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. It's just that, again, everything's inverted. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you talked to some high-level Democrats and people, who were there at Fox News, or around at the DNC. What is their sense? I mean, you were kind of implying they're just there to be on the bandwagon.
Yes, but they also hate Trump. I mean, it's so funny. I had this really interesting conversation at a Bernie rally the other day, and I think your guys may have been there actually. But I was talking to this woman, and I said, well, what do you care about? What are the issues you really care about? And she said, I'm really mad about trade. I think our trade agreements hurt Americans. And I think, number two, Wall Street has too much influence in our electoral process. And I said, you want to hear something weird? Trump said that exact same thing the other night. And she basically she refused to believe me. I mean, it's true. Those are Trump's.
That's right. They're so compartmentalized. This is how Google does it, where liberals, conservatives, other people are kept in their little, they feed you what they think you want to hear. They don't even know what Trump really stands for.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I also think Trump could do a better job sticking on the issues. I mean, that's, I think, would be really helpful. Let me just say this. I think the left hates Trump so much and is so intent on holding on to control of the executive branch that I don't think many on the left will accept a Trump presidency. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but my sense is they will not see him as legitimate, for real, in a way that we've never seen in my lifetime anyway, in 47 years. They're not going to accept him as president. And many of them anyway.
So you're talking about civil unrest, Tucker?
I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but I for the decades I've lived in Washington, 30 years, there's been this sense, well, I don't want the other guy to win, but if he does, he's the president of the United States. Like, I don't know, I'm an American, he's the president. I'll sort of get in line. I may not like it, but I'm not going to pretend he's not the president. I think things have changed. It's the sense I have no evidence for this, but many on the left are going to say, you know what, he's not the president.
Well, I think you do have evidence. Look at all the civil unrest that Obama and Hillary have been fomenting. What do you think's behind that?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think there's been an awful lot of racial demagoguery just in the last 3 days here in Philadelphia, but I think for the last 8 years. I mean, from day one, Obama has made the case, if you disagree with him, you just don't like him because he's black. You're a racist. You're a bad person. You're immoral. When you say that, or you imply it, as he has again and again and again, totally unfairly, there's no evidence that the average American is racist. That's just not, that's not true. But he keeps
the average American's sick of hearing about it. I'll tell you that.
I agree with that. And you divide people on a deep level. They don't just disagree with each other on the issues. You're for TPP, I'm against it. They hate each other based on tribal affiliation. And those wounds are very slow to heal. It takes generations to heal those wounds. I think this guy has intentionally divided people, presumably to increase his own power. I don't know, but I can tell you,
no doubt,
terrible effect.
Tucker, you talk about there being some type of permanent emergency, maybe if Trump gets in, and obviously they vowed to do that, so there is evidence to it. But I got to tell you, if Hillary openly steals this election after stealing the nomination, I mean, I'm a peaceful guy, so I'm not going to do anything violent. But at a certain point, how do we up, the political temperature to try to stop this if they're banning words, saying mother and father are bad, the borders are open outside of law, they're about to appoint 5 Supreme Court justices probably in the next 4 to 8 years. I mean, this is a nightmare scenario, and I almost feel guilty if I don't do something else, but I don't know what I do that they don't end up turning against myself or the Republic. I mean, I'm really having these thoughts now, like, well, we're really turning into a third world crazy town.
Well, they've been radicalized for sure, and I think they are. I mean, to give them credit for sincerity, I think they're genuinely afraid of Trump. I do think that. I think they're really threatened by the guy. They don't understand him. They don't know where he's coming from. They can't predict his next move. They don't think they can negotiate with him, and I think they really feel cornered. And I hope that people don't resort to extremism like stealing elections. But you never know. People who feel deeply threatened do things they wouldn't do otherwise. And it definitely makes me really uncomfortable. I love this country. I have nowhere else to go. I don't have another passport. I grew up here. I don't want things to go to hell. And you really feel like when political leaders say, and they've said this flat out, if you don't like the law, don't obey it, or the whole system is corrupt and therefore illegitimate, it's racist. that's when things start to go the way of
And then it's all selective, though. Then they throw Dinesh D'Souza for campaign contributions in jail while Hillary's getting money from Gulf states illegally. Exactly. It's like it's so rigged with the system out to get you because you're an evil American, or you're a white guy, or you're a libertarian, you're a conservative, and then you haven't done anything, and then the groups even attacking you are being screwed over. I mean, it's really scary.
No, that is such a good description. Even the groups attacking you are being screwed over. Right. I mean, if this were 1917, they'd be the Mensheviks. You know, they played a kind of useful role.
Yeah, exactly.
They're cast aside.
Look, you're out there in the streets, but you're also, at the highest levels of media. Obviously, the military's been concerned. They blocked funding ISIS and what Obama tried to do. General Flynn and others, Rand Paul to his credit, Ted Cruz to his credit. So there does seem to be an understanding now that we have this Machiavellian elite that are not even party affiliated now. They're just crazy. And I think folks are having it click now that things are out of control. I mean, that's what I'm picking up from billionaires and generals and folks. They don't know what to do, because when you get into the kind of the bureaucratic level and the politico level, that even, because I'm not defending bureaucrats saying the CIA or the FBI or the military, but they at least know starting a war with Russia might cause nuclear war. It just seems like you got a bunch of power-mad, crazy communists and weird feminists and communists, and they've got power. They're ruling the country. They walk on red carpets. They have mansions, but they still have some victimology 60s weirdo stuff to, like, get the man. And the man's some poor white guy down in a coal mine, with black lung. I mean, I always thought leftism was just a cover for their takeover, but I really get I think, actually drink a lot of their own Kool-Aid. I know I'm ranting. Tucker, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly. And I think that was so smart. You just got cut off right at the end when you pointed out that the people in power describe themselves as victims. There are two things going on. One, the left kind of inherently needs to feel morally superior. They need the moral high ground, because that's really the whole point. The whole left project is the good people rule the mediocre people, rule the bad people. The people with clean hearts are in charge of the people with, filthy intentions. A. B, when you're a victim, it means, by definition, never having to say you're sorry or look back and critically assess what you've done. And so you have this incredibly bizarre situation where the president of the United States claims to be a victim. He's a victim. And you have Hillary Clinton saying, one of the richest and most famous people in the world, that every white person is somehow, literally, she said this, privileged and needs to examine their privilege. So the unemployed machinist in Cleveland is somehow more privileged than the Harvard-educated president? Really?
Who wakes up in a house built by slaves, poor baby, and then it expands on that. You have Bernie Sanders saying, white people don't know what it's like to be poor.
Well, exactly. When rural America is collapsing in on itself in the saddest possible way. It's a slow motion disaster that we're all ignoring.
Wow.
mean, it really is. It's the saddest thing I think I've ever seen, what is happening to America outside of the big population centers. It's just absolutely awful. And these people are intent on attacking the people who are suffering.
Well, he said that's the enemy, the bitter clingers. In closing, dailycaller.com, Tucker Carlson, founder of that, of course, journalist at Fox News. In closing, who's going to win? I mean, who do you think, just Stolled or not, who's the next president going to be?
This is the way I think of it. He's got the best message ever. He has trouble articulating it. She has no message at all. Vote for me. I'm a woman. He wins if he stays disciplined. That's my view.
All right, Tucker, thank you so much. We'll be watching your coverage at dailycaller.com. Stay with us, folks. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. This is a very exciting time to be alive. I'm not going to be playing fantasy football here in the next few months. Probably the most important election in U.S. history. Definitive. We know with Hillary, they are going to take us beneath the waves. They are going to bankrupt this country and turn us into a third world nation on purpose to control us. They want to extinguish the American system that never even got off the ground, but just the idea produced so many great ideas, inventions, and wealth that changed the world. I just couldn't imagine being one of these globalists and then wanting to suppress everybody while I ran around telling everyone how much I love them. It is the triumph of fraud. The triumph of a galactic-sized hoax. But they get away with it because the Republican leadership is almost as bad. and works with them. And along comes Donald Trump, who's a nationalist and a patriot, and who could turn into a strongman like Vladimir Putin. But I'll tell you this, I know Hillary, and I know she's bad news. And you are insane if you support her, because you support fraud and deception and stolen elections and Gulf states flooding her with money and the communist Chinese. I mean, the worst. You know about the Chinese murdering hundreds of thousands of political dissidents a year, tens of millions over the years. And she's like, oh, it's just the Chinese. Everywhere we go, people scream, you're an effing white male, and they're weird white people. It's like this royalty they have to just run around squawking. You know, Chinese kill 84 million of their own people. It's cute because they're Chinese. It's not bad when communists kill somebody and they're Chinese, but oh my gosh. There were probably over 1,000 lynchings from 1900 to 1970. Oh my, wow, whoa, geez. I mean, okay, great, it's my fault, I did it. You know, it's just the numbers we're talking about here. But it's how Hollywood just inflames these wounds. They're not well-meaning liberals in Hollywood, folks. They're not well-meaning liberals in the Democratic Party. They are creepy controllers who think everybody's dumb and who are trying to make you as dumb as possible so they can control you. Briefly, we are running the biggest special, wide spectrum we have ever run at InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, takes you to nutraceuticals as a big fundraiser. We're not calling this a money bomb. If you want to donate, you're certainly welcome to, and we appreciate that. It goes towards more reporters and crew. And again, we don't get mega corporation money. We got 2 hours, 23 minutes left in the transmission. That'll be 28 hours. The free feed is at Infowars.com/show or Infowars.com/giant. And you can go there and find the discounts. Get these unprecedented specials at InfoWarsStore.com right now for the Operation Sleeping Giant Supercell fundraiser. 40% off Brain Force, the amazing nootropic. It's a great way to just, if you've never wanted to try these out or do want to try them out, to now have this introductory offer, this low price. 40% off Silver Bullet Coil Silver. 20% off all Pro Pure water filters. 20% off all Alexa Pure air filters. 30% off all Survival Shield X2. 30% off Super Male Vitality. 30% off Vitamin Mineral Fusion. 30% off Secret 12, Vitamin B12. 30% off DNA Force. 20% off all Survival Seeds. 20% off all shirts. 30% off Liver Shield. 30% off Deep Cleanse. 30% off Anthroplex. 30% off Knockout. Just Knockout alone, if you're all amped up and can't go to bed and got to get up early to go take a play in the morning, it's midnight, can't go to sleep, take 2 of these, and it's just got a large dose, a good dose, of melatonin, L-tryptophan, valerian root, and like 8 other things or 7 other things. And it'd be like $50-$60 trying to get all these by themselves at the same dose. It's just a really good organic, serious dose of everything. Deep, healthful, good rest, InfoWarsLife.com. And that's just one of the products there. Try Brain Force. We've never had 40% off on that. And there's other discounts as well. 20% off all the Patriot apparel, Hillary for Prison shirts, Bill Clinton rape shirt. It's time to get aggressive with the scum. They don't want us exercising the First Amendment because we're devastating them with it. You got the new Molon Labe Come and Take It Texas-style shirts in camo and gray. Really comfortable shirts. Got that kind of fabric that's a mix of some type of artificial stuff. And I don't have the shirt with me. It just feels so good. And cotton. And all of this, we have the Make America Free Again shirts that are rip-offs of Trump's. And it's not a total rip-off, but it's a kind of a uptake on it. I think an upgrade on it. But InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, they're called toll-free, 888-253-3139. And it's revolutionary when you fund us, when you share a link, an article, a video. They're doing everything they can to censor this. I mean, Google is not letting people have search results for presidential candidate Donald Trump. They're not letting you see stories about Hillary being corrupt. I mean, this is admitted. They meet multiple times a week with the White House. On average, 5 hours. They think they can dominate you. They think you can give Dinesh D'Souza's film a 5% rating, and then the public gives it, what, an 84, 85%. Okay, thank you for holding. We're going to go in order here. Chris in Canada. And then to everybody else, Chris in Canada, you're on the air worldwide. Thank you for joining us on this 28-hour transmission.